Let's go ahead and get started with our third panel of the morning. This is another fantastic panel, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but this panel discussion is called Harnessing the Power of Technology for Your Small Business. So we're going to turn it over to Traci Rodriguez to get us started.
Thank you very much, Becky. Good morning, almost good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, David, our last moderator, for sharing that his panel discussion was the last before lunch. That's not true. It's us. We stand between you and lunch. But thank you so much for being here today. This panel is all about using the power of technology, specifically AI is our hot topic these days. So whether you're using tech tools or just curious about where to start, this discussion is designed to give you real and practical insight. My name is Traci Rodriguez. I work with Community Impact News. I've been there 20 years, actually almost 19 years, but it feels definitely like 20. When I started there in 2006, we operated our entire business off of Google Sheets, Google Docs, then it was Smart Sheets, then we had a failed attempt at Salesforce, and then we built our own system from the ground up, which made a huge difference. And certainly AI is a part of how we make our humans more efficient today. If you talk to my teenagers, they will tell you that I talk to my phone way too much and I should stop sharing everything with ChatGPT. So let's see, but with a raise of hands, how many of you are using AI personally and professionally? Right. How many of you are not because you're slightly suspicious? That's my brother. Every time I talk to ChatGPT, he's like, get away from me. He gets very paranoid. It's weird. I'm like, bro, you got to get with the times. So moving on, we've got some amazing panelists here today, and so I'm not going to sit and read their full bios, but I would love for them to introduce themselves. And we'll start with Randy Bryan.
Hey, everybody. I'm Randy Bryan. I'm the CEO and founder of tekRESCUE. We help businesses unlock and increase their efficiency with AI while keeping their digital house secure at the same time. We also have worked with everybody from construction companies to medical offices with custom GPTs that we've created to help them eliminate wasted hours, increase their efficiencies with communications, and also help prevent costly cybersecurity breaches. And I'm here today because I'm a big fan of small businesses, and I believe that small businesses can adopt technology without becoming a target. And I'm here to help with that today. And also, ChatGPT helped me write this intro.
And Randy said he was introverted and scared of the microphone, but I could tell you immediately pulled the microphone out of the stand. Next up, we have Dr. Meghan Hollis-Peel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Meg. I'm the data management officer for the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. Yes, that's a mouthful. A lot of people hate us. Before that, I was data officer for the Sunset Advisory Commission. Again, another agency that people love to hate. So I just kind of go to the agencies that people don't love. It's fine. But I've got a 25-year history in data and analytics and AI. Interestingly, my PhD is in criminology and justice policy, so I used to work with police departments on doing analytics-enabled policing, predictive policing work, all of that, and developing out those kinds of tool sets so that they can use their resources more effectively and efficiently in a smarter way and bring down costs. So, like, the name of most of what I do is efficiency. And I'm here to represent the state of Texas and, help enable you guys for success. That's really, you think, regulation, but our job is to enable you guys to be successful and make sure that your regulatory environments and licensing environments prevent things that will cause people to think that your industry or your profession, is suspect or not trustworthy. We help eliminate that so that you guys can rise to the top and be successful.
Thank you, Meg. Finally, we have Roy Draa.
Hi, happy to be here today and to have this opportunity to meet with so many business owners and entrepreneurs. I am one of the senior managers at X, formerly known as Twitter. The name was changed after a guy by the name of Elon bought it about 2 years ago. And I got there about 18 months ago as they were making the decisions to move the headquarters here to Texas and to move a lot of their operations from overseas here to Texas for efficiency reasons and also for some security reasons as well. So prior to that, I spent 23 years in the Marine Corps, where my expertise was in putting out dumpster fires and fixing problems. So moving into the world of consulting before coming to X, those skills translated very well and continued to do so at X. So I'm excited to be here to talk about this topic because I see the adoption as being very, very important for small business owners and entrepreneurs. And the adoption of this, I think, is going to incredibly impact your ability to scale and your ability to have a much wider reach to your customer base than you normally would had you not used these tools. So thank you.
Thank you, Roy, and thank you for your service. So I recently, just a quick Elon story, told our intern who's on summer break from college at UT, I told her I saw this crazy video that where Elon and Kanye West were talking to one another, and she said, "You know that's AI, right? That's not real." Like, oh my gosh, I did not know that. Scary. So we'll get into the questions. We'll definitely save 10 minutes at the end to go to the audience for any questions that you may have. So we'll just start right next to me with Randy on this. Where do you see the biggest opportunities for small businesses to grow using technology over the next 2 years?
I would obviously definitely say AI in general, and I would encourage small businesses to start looking for ways that you can increase efficiency. Just start a conversation. Get ChatGPT out or Grok or whatever your preferred AI is, and just start having the conversation. Just straight up ask, hey, how can I use AI to help my business? How can I use it to increase my efficiency? It's a great tool, and it takes a little bit of getting used to kind of think outside the box. You know, like 2 years ago when it first came out, we're asking all these little like simple questions, and some people put it away like right after that. Other people kept using it, and it's really getting comfortable with asking the right question over and over and becoming like a muscle memory, if you will.
Yeah, I would add to that, use it for data and analytics. So a lot of you, if you're in a small business environment, you can't afford a data analyst, a data scientist, some of the things that larger companies can use. And so that already is setting you behind a little bit. But there are AI-empowered analytics tools out there. And if you can leverage those are going to be really powerful to help you close that gap. Because now you can better understand how your business is functioning. You can better understand, what your true patterns look like instead of going based off of your gut feeling, which gut feeling is great when you are a small business owner, but also being able to look at trends and those kinds of things and see the problems coming before they hit you. That's really powerful stuff. And how many of you guys are like, I hate math, don't tell me I need to do analytics? I've dealt with that most of my career. Everyone sees me coming and they're like, oh no, it's the math girl. I was a professor. I taught statistics to people who hated statistics. I called my class Math for People Who Hate Math. But there are tools out there now. You don't have to learn the math. You let it do the math for you, and now you can see these things, and it'll do it in a way that it's user-friendly. You can see it in a visual way instead of looking at massive Excel spreadsheets. Get away from the massive Excel spreadsheets. It's harder for you to see those trends. Instead, use these tools. Use the tools that are in your arsenal and that are available to make that easier for you so you can quick glance in the morning, see how your business is doing, and then make decisions based on those analytics.
Yeah, I think to dovetail off of that, it's look at those tasks that you're doing in your business that are repetitive. Mm-hmm. They take a long time to do. They're eating up your time. You know how much you're paying yourself, right? So if it's something that, maybe I could pay somebody like a virtual assistant to do this or something like that, I would have that conversation with a GPT, talk to them about the problem, talk to them about your process, and see, like, not all AI is the same. Some of them are designed for different tasks and things of that nature. But you can have that conversation with a ChatGPT or a Grok. You can set up those prompts with it so you can talk about what is that process that I'm moving forward with? What type of research am I doing? Marketing research or something of that nature. And then just start looking at those opportunities and have those conversations. And you can ask the AI to respond as if it were an efficiency expert or consultant or something like that. And it will gear its answer toward that persona that you're asking it to provide you some prompts on. Now, you do have to go back and do your due diligence and check those things, but there's a lot of opportunities to get started there and get your own creative juices flowing. And involving your people in it too, because your people know where your pain points are in your companies if you have employees.
And I would totally add to that. Like, I think as small business owners, we want to turn around and get the whiteboard out and start thinking of pain points. And the best thing to do is listen for pain points, and then think about how you could use AI potentially to solve that pain point. I was on a call with our account executive, who has to go through all kinds of numbers and spreadsheets and grueling. And so we just wrote out a little custom GPT that he can put that stuff into, and it gives him feedback right away. And so instead of having to go through the grueling, he can spend his time on other things. So great points, everybody.
I have a follow-up question on that. How are business owners supposed to know whether to use a custom AI or something off the shelf?
I mean, I would say, first off, if AI doesn't know, it's kind of written to make you happy or please you, right? Except for maybe Grok. But because it's kind of like a hard truth GPT in a lot of ways, right?
You can turn that on and off.
Yeah. I would say if you know that, and then know that if it doesn't know what you want exactly, it's going to assume and it's going to fill in information potentially. And so your question was, how do we know what to ask?
How do we know
use a
if
custom
it's
or not?
custom
Yes.
or off the shelf?
And so if you use a custom, then you have a lot of basically where you can go in and tell it all the specific things. Like, I want a number analyst. I literally have a little paragraph that's called hard truth because I don't want it to make me happy. I just want it to say what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. But you can go in and add all those little things. So I think a lot of times you're better off with writing a little custom, and it's way easier than it sounds.
I would add, it depends on your level of AI literacy and what resources you have. So if you don't have the resources to go out and procure a beautiful custom AI tool, the ones that are off the shelf are fine. It also depends on the type of data you're using. If you are using a lot of sensitive data, if your business is dealing with PII, PHI, anything that's protected that you by law have to keep protected, you need to think very carefully about what AI tools you're using. You need to research their security to protect yourself, because you don't want to inadvertently have a data leak that now you are up against it, going back to the previous panel, financially, because now you've got to pay penalties. But also your level of literacy for you, your employees, all of that. Dipping your toe in the water with the stuff that's available on the internet first is a great starting point. Get to use it, get to know it, get familiar with how it works, because a lot of people are using it just like, a traditional Google search or, what have you, whichever tool you're using for your internet searches, and people will use it like that's what it is. That's not what it is. You need to get really good at understanding how to write out your prompts so that you get the results you need, because that just improves the quality of what you're getting, and it's going to just empower you. When you get really good at using these tools, the things that you can do with them are phenomenal, and it'll save you so much time on a daily basis.
Yeah, I don't think I've built my own spreadsheets in over a year now, because I can use AI to do that for me. Again, something that, okay, can I pay somebody to do this? Yes, I can. Does it make more sense for me to do this or for me to have somebody else do this? Or can I use AI to do this for me? And that just ends up making me more efficient. But it also goes back to, again, asking, what do I really want to achieve here, right? Are you talking about data? Now you're talking, your answer is only going to be as good as your data is. So going back to first principles, you have to ensure that those processes and your data are actually clean, and they're already built out, right? All of your systems and processes that you use in your business, whether it's how you take in a customer, billing, processing, all of those sorts of things. That's kind of your first step. And AI can assist you with that, but you're not going to end up having this incredible, Tableau data insights if all of that data is still dirty, or it's not organized in a fashion that AI can efficiently understand it.
So for those who are not currently using AI, outside of using AI for the education, what tools are there out there for business owners to educate themselves on how to correctly use AI?
Oh, I'll take that one. Former professor, yes, education, let's do it. So there's a lot out there. The internet is your friend, but always evaluate what you're using. But you can use LinkedIn Learning. There's some great stuff there. There's a lot of different academies out there. Also, searching for things like how to design a prompt. A lot of the people working in the key AI companies have actually published articles about how to write prompts for their tools and have them be successful with do's and don'ts. There are some things that you should not do in a prompt depending on which tool you're using, but you wouldn't know that if you don't go out there and do your research. So some of them, if you say do not do this, for some reason the AI tool cannot understand that you just said not, and it will do the thing you told it not to do. And so you have to understand all of that. But there's a lot of free resources out there that you can just go hit up and learn. And a big part of it is just going and using it and seeing what results you get. Tweak your prompt a little bit, and then try the same prompt across multiple AI tools and see how the differences emerge, because you will get very different responses depending on which AI tool you're in.
So I love people asking me this question because I can start crowing about the state that we live in. We've got one of the best, these counties have some of the best public library systems in the United States. So there is really no excuse for a business owner to say, I just don't have the money to do that. Time, yes, that you may not have the time, but this is going to end up buying you back time. So just about every county library, city library, Austin, Round Rock, every one of those, if you have a library card, you can get access, and it's different in each county, but maybe to LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, Udemy, Future Learning, all of these different things as a part of their adult continuing education programs. So you have opportunities there, and I would also stop and talk to the Workforce Solutions people, because I know that they also have similar type courses that are there. So the information is out there and it's readily available through our public library systems.
And I would also encourage YouTube.
Yeah.
Find people on YouTube. Obviously, comments and supplies, your mileage may vary, right?
Right.
But even last night, I was looking for a specific thing. I found a YouTuber who had an answer for that. It was related to AI. I'm into like the next video, and I'm like, whoa, that's a great idea. And so I got out my CRM, my high level, and used AI to make a little post, and basically putting into action what I was learning. Sent out a post, and like within 30 minutes, 2 people had downloaded my AI toolkit. Like, so that's how, as a small business owner, that's how we learn. We learn, from all these ways, and then go out and put it into practice, play around with it. You may not get it right the first time. You may have to ask a different way or do something slightly different. But really, as a small business owner, that's one of the roles we ought to at least be overseeing at the very minimum is, how are we getting new customers? And that it's a great way to do that. So.
Yeah, and I'll add, you can use AI to develop learning plans. So when I'm trying to learn a new skill set, like for the last couple of years, I will go to an AI tool and I will say, create a learning plan for fill in the blank with the thing I'm trying to learn. give me a syllabus, outline readings, give me references to videos I should watch, things I should read, any exercises I should do, etc. The other day I used it to build out my new weightlifting plan, and it was phenomenal. I'm like, hey, I don't even need to pay, buku bucks for a trainer anymore. This is great. I mean, of course, always verify, because sometimes it'll give you things that do not exist, and it'll be like, go check out this video, and you're like, what? This video doesn't exist? Okay. But use AI. You can use AI to help you learn. It's great.
That's really awesome that you said that. Have you thought about having a YouTube channel helping people? Because the way you're saying, I'm sure I saw several people start writing that down. How many people have thought before, hey, set up a learning plan for XYZ? That's a great prompt. That's a prompt that's worth writing down for the day.
Government employee, we don't do YouTube channels.
Or you could use X spaces and actually engage with your students.
Yeah.
How would we do that?
See me after this.
Okay. That's awesome.
We actually have, at Community Impact, we partner with businesses on the marketing side, and I can't tell you how many times a small business owner has said, we're going to run this 8-page ad, and then here's the 10 paragraphs on what to include in that, which is a big no, less is more, one image, headline, and we can drop that into our design software, and AI will take that 8 paragraphs and give us the headline, the subhead, and some bullets, and we run with it. And so it's been very beneficial, and I think that's something I did spend quite a bit of time trying to wrap my brain around, how to be more concise with words. So how can we make sure we protect our data and the data of our customers when incorporating AI tools?
Know the regulations. You need to know the law. This is changing rapidly. It is hard to keep up with, and I'm going to acknowledge that. It's hard for me to keep up with, to make sure that the agency that I'm responsible for all of our data, I have to make sure we are compliant. And so I have to keep up with all of that law. I use my attorneys like crazy because I can't do it alone, but know the regulations first, and then research the security of any tools that you are looking to use. Like state of Texas, agencies, we can't use DeepSeek. There's a reason for that, because your data is going to China. And yeah, we don't really want that in the state of Texas. So you need to understand the tool. You need to do some research. If you are a small business that can't, afford a CISO or, a chief information security officer, that kind of thing, there are things like vCISOs or virtual CISOs that you can get on a hourly basis just to consult with you, so that they can give you some guidance and point you in the right direction of, hey, these are the things you need to be looking for. It is super scary, but again, back to the library card, there are a lot of books out there right now on securing AI and understanding the types of risks. One of the biggest risks I have seen so far that gives me the most concern for people who are in a small business environment is a different type of attack on your tool. So if you do a public-facing AI, like a chatbot, that kind of thing, what people can do, it's a new type of DDoS attack, or distributed denial of service, but instead of taking your service offline, the goal is to shoot your costs up by hitting it, and you're getting the tokenization charges for the repeated queries through your tool. And so now your cost for deploying this tool is going up and up and up and up. So you need to have the guardrails in place to control your costs in that environment, because it's no longer, I pay this set fee, it's compute cost related and all of that, and you need to understand those structures. And I could probably go on for days on this, but I'll stop there.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, so this is not legal advice.
Word.
But this really is something that you need to educate yourself on the regulations, what your responsibilities are to your clients as far as disclosure. It's different for chatbots, it's different for information that you're collecting. You also need to understand the settings that you're using on AI, because AI will learn. That's a part of it, right? So what type of information are you putting in there depending upon your business? And what are those laws that apply to it, whether it's HIPAA, GDPR, DSCA, those type of laws. And where your clients are will also be impacted on that, as far as how you have to protect private information. And it's not just your clients, it's also your information, your processes, your intellectual property, right? Each one of you, if you have a company, there's intellectual property that's owned as a part of that. There is trademark and copyright that impacts your bottom line, right? If somebody else ends up misrepresenting your company or ends up impersonating your company online as a result of your data practices or your employees' data practices. So to that also, for those of you who have employees or you have 1099 contractors as well, it's also educating them about these practices, whether it's phishing attempts or whether it's the protecting of private information and things of that nature. A lot to think about, but again, that's where I'm glad you brought up the concept of a virtual assistant or a virtual CISO.
Yep.
You may not have the the bandwidth to be able to hire somebody on full time to do that kind of thing, but you certainly can for maybe 5-10 hours a month and hire that virtual advisor or somebody to come in the same way that you might have somebody come in and take care of your bookkeeping on a monthly or quarterly basis, but they're not necessarily an employee of your company or your firm.
Yeah, that's something that tekRESCUE, literally, that's what we do. And the thing is, think about you said virtual CIO. That's a Chief Information Officer.
CISO.
Or virtual CISO.
Yep, you can get
the
either.
I in both of those is the same. It stands for information. It's the same I that's in IT. And for like 25 years, we've been trying to talk to people about their data and keeping it secure and doing all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, here comes AI. And everybody is, which the I in AI does not stand for information. But anyway, people are shoving all their data and just giving it away to AI. And so what we've been trying to do for 25 years, now all of a sudden everybody's undoing by just uploading everything to AI. Well, here's the thing. AI, there are different types of AI. Some AI will take the information that you give it and use it to train itself. And so you have to be careful if it's an AI like that. You don't want to upload like a spreadsheet of, private information or something that would fall under one of the regulations. There's other AI that keeps that information separate and doesn't use that information to train the rest of the AI. And the way AI works, it's very similar to a human brain. I read a book I think 15 years ago called Good to Great. I don't remember every single word in Good to Great, but I do remember chunks of it. And so an AI can take a 20 megabyte book and then it might only increase its brain, like 100th of that. But if the information is unique, or the more unique it is, the more likely it is to basically remember a larger section of data. I don't want to get into the nerd stuff too much, but I was able to pull up some chunks of data like that I think were training data from an AI. And I didn't do it illegally or anything like that, but it's something that I'm looking at. That's one thing that I would say though is in your company you should have a policy that if it's AI that's going to train the rest of it, use that for like social media posts and how to write a welcome email and things that are generic. But if you're going to be uploading like spreadsheet of cases that you have going on or spreadsheets of business information or whatever, it needs to be an AI that's going to keep that information separate.
Yeah, and if you don't want it on the internet, don't give it to one of the public AIs because it could end up on the internet. And what he's alluding to is there's a thing that some of us are doing where we go out and we test these AI models to see if it'll give us the training data. And sometimes we can find out very personal information about people because the AI is training on it because people didn't realize, I'm feeding this very private information into an AI model that's using it as training data. And suddenly we have all kinds of really creepy information about you because we know how to elicit that data from the model. Hackers love this stuff. Just saying. Not from experience at all. But it's what we do. We test the models to make sure anything we're going to put our data in or we're going to put the agency's data in is not going to leak that information later on before we actually use it. Also know where your data is stored. Depending on the type of data, new regulations apply if the storage location is outside the United States. You could be tripping into GDPR at that point, or if you have clients outside the United States. So you need to understand where the data is stored and whose data you're using in it. That changes the regulatory environment for you.
This whole conversation makes me wonder what the I stands for in iRobot, which is where the robots take over the human world. So Meg, you bring up the hidden costs and the price going up. And so I'm curious to know what the other hidden costs are out there for those implementing AI tools.
Sure. So AI is typically not based on like your traditional software where you pay for a license, it is this set dollar amount per year. Instead, you are paying based on usage rates. If you are building your own, and I don't want to get too in the weeds on this, but I think you probably have someone in the room that has some expertise in this and could help you out. But if you're building your own, if you're doing something custom, you need to understand the data storage costs. You need to understand the cost for every time you are pinging and sending data to and extracting output data from any of these tools. All of that, if you don't understand how it's going to be variable pricing over time based on usage rates, you're going to get into trouble really fast because those costs can just take off very, very fast. I've experimented with this once or twice, and it's a little scary how quickly it can get out of control. So understand your pricing structure, understand whichever tool you're using, whichever environment you're in, how you can set limits, set a budget for it, and tell it, no, once you hit this budget, you cannot go above it. That will protect you from these extensive costs that could hit your business in a way that you're not expecting. And that's really what we want to do for you guys, right, is make sure you're successful and you're not suddenly being put out of business because you didn't anticipate these dramatic cost increases. And if you don't follow the regulations, there's also the potential cost of regulatory violations, which is a big problem.
That's what I was going to say was there's also that hidden cost of falling into a trap of some kind where you've given away data that becomes public, you're involved in some kind of a breach or something like that. And then I think from a not more practical, but from as a business owner, from a more of a day-to-day operations, there is a cost if you do not adopt AI at all.
Yes.
Because you're losing out on potential efficiencies and
Growth.
having access to more data, like you said. And I think in 2025, it's even more important than ever to up the ante on the human touch, okay? So do all the AI in the background and all that stuff. But man, if you could have a real person picking up the phone and calling people and talking to people, that could be a real differentiator.
So that's a perfect segue, and I want to throw it over to Roy, because my next question was, how do you balance using AI with maintaining the human touch in your customer business operations?
I think that is something that we are challenged with right now. I think a lot of companies are challenged with that, right? How many of you call a bank and you get a chat bot, and that's frustrating, or your insurance company? Ask my wife. She won't let me call the bank or the insurance companies anymore because of that. So that part of that is having that balance, right? What are those tasks that you can use AI for, but immediately get somebody with a problem or a pain point over to one of your people that can assist them, right? So using a chatbot for things like gaining information is a very good thing, especially if you have a very complex process or a product or technical support or something of that nature, right? That's a very good use for a chatbot to gain that initial information, and then have that all together so that whoever you have on the phone that is assisting them can help them to do that. Doing tasks like scheduling, a scheduling assistant, that is a great thing to use a chatbot for, or that AI assistant for. It's made me much more, I have a very long commute, so it's made me much more efficient because I can have conversations with AI in voice Grok actually has a female voice. I never knew that until the new version came out. So I'm having a conversation with her about a problem that we have. It's a mechanical issue that we had. And talking through the symptoms, things of that nature, we got to a point where we thought we knew what the issues were, or at least the things that we had to look at, and then went and had the AI draft up that email. We went through a couple of iterations on drafting up that email, and then it sent the email for me from all the while I'm driving and keeping my eyes on I-35. So I think those are good ways to do it. It can help you to be more efficient. It can help set up your customer support for success in solving those problems more quickly for your clients. But yes, people do still want to talk to a person. But there are some out there that are very, very, very convincing as far as their ability to assist people in a very human way. And you can do that and train it with whatever your branding is, whatever the voice for your company is. You can train a chatbot to do that, or even a voice AI. You can train it to do that and to have that human touch. But that certainly is a lot more complicated of a process.
Yeah, I would add, use the AI to provide information about your customers and to elicit important details about conversations or things from their records to the human providing the service. So that way you're enabling the person providing the customer service, giving them more tools in their arsenal so they can just up the level of customer service they're able to provide rather than letting the AI provide the customer service. So you have the human touch, but you've taken that, hopefully you guys will get the movie reference, but you're taking it and turning it up to an 11. But you want to make sure you're just increasing your ability to provide really high quality customer service. Look at what some of the great companies have done. If you look at how Amazon got started, it was based on these algorithmic recommendation engines. If you look at Netflix, if you can just go on down the list, it's because they were getting really good customer data at the right time in the right place for the right things. So if you can leverage that same type of concept for your own company, no matter what size you are, Amazon started out of, a guy's garage. You could do that too if you really wanted to. That's not out of the realm of possibility. You just have to know how to leverage the tools that are available to you. And a big part of that is knowing your customer and having really good information about your customer to then enable really high quality service.
Yeah, I have a couple things I would want to add to that. I interviewed a guy last week who's the CEO of a very, very large mortgage company that he started from scratch, and they're in the billions now. And he said that they're really leaning into human touch on the front end and AI on the back end. And then I would also say, would you rather have an AI answer the phone or a phone tree? I mean, I'm so done with phone trees. I never want to hear a press 1 for this and press 2 for that. And so you can bring an AI in, even at a small business that just has, you got like at tekRESCUE, you have press 1 for support, press 2 for support, 1 for everything else. We don't have a huge phone tree, but you could bring an AI even in that case. And you can basically train the AI to match the personality of your company. At tekRESCUE, we've always been about not trying to not take ourselves too seriously, take our work more seriously, but try to take ourselves less seriously. So our little AI bot that I've been working on, it will actually, I programmed it to laugh where it sounds like it's AI. It goes, ha ha ha. It's like really, and I love that because, and then it also says right off the bat, I'm an AI bot. Here's my name. I'm an AI bot. And it sounds pretty great if you ask me. And I think that's going back to your original question. Don't make people stay there too long, obviously, because if people are calling and their air conditioning is down and you're their air conditioning company, they don't want to spend forever on the dang phone with a dang chatbot.
Yeah.
This is triggering for me. I recently had a mortgage payment that was misapplied, and I ended up in the phone tree. And I just want to say, zero should always get you to a human. Yes. Every time. Because then you end up hitting zero
Everybody
because you're
agrees.
impatient like I am, and then you have to start over. Oh, my goodness. Well, we are at 10 minutes. I want to make sure we have time for the audience to ask questions, technology related. I know there's someone with a microphone. We've got a hand up. There we go. Easy one for your short legs.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've used AI and for technology kind of information and non-technology. So my question is, how can I make sure it's robust information and it's not based so much on the temperature publicly? And then there was an article I was researching, and I did the deep dive, where the author referenced other authors, and then I went further down, and those same authors were referencing each other.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, so the information wasn't really robust. So how can I put in the prompts, or what prompts would I put into, ensure that I get good, robust data?
Here's what I would say. First, make sure you're using tools that give you the opportunity to get to the source of the output that you're getting. So really good tools will give you, for each thing they're saying, there will be a link to the original source material that it pulled that information from. Or maybe, I don't know if this is an or an and, probably an and. Also ask it, where did you get this information from? If you ask the tool, it will tell you, this is how I did this. And you can also test it to see, if I ask this question in different ways, am I getting different answers? Test it across multiple AI tools and see how consistent the answers are across. If they're highly inconsistent, start asking questions. And then always go back and just check that source material. It takes just a few minutes to verify things. Yeah.
So in writing your prompts, you can ask for a works cited
Yep.
at the end of the prompt, and it'll automatically give you that and the link so that you can actually go back and check and see is this just a .com, is this a scholarly journal, is this a report that was put out by the city, and you'll be able to verify that information. But absolutely, that's something you should be doing.
And not to toot anybody's horn out there, but Google has a feature called, I think it's Notebook LLM, and you may not even see it as that, but it's a great research tool. I've also been very impressed, also not to toot anybody's horn, but Grok as a research tool, because it not only tells you what it's saying, but it also quotes, here's why I'm saying this, and then comes back and says, common sense may apply, your mileage may vary. At least that's been my experience with it. And then I would also say, everybody in here in the room is an expert at something.
Yep.
And so we're not looking to AI to tell us how to be an expert. So we can use AI as an assistant. We can use AI as a research assistant. That's a totally valid place for it. I would encourage you to use AI as a thought partner. I'm the expert. And I want AI to help me be better at what I do, and so use it as a thought partner. I was working with a CEO of a construction company, and we know we're going to get data that's made up if we don't ask the right question, right? And so I got really scared because we had this amazing time savings, and I was like, hey, so that sometimes this is going to give you back bad information. Yeah. And he said, Randy. Just like that. Randy. I'm like, what? Randy. And then he said, we're the experts, man. If it gives us back bad information, we're going to know it. And I would encourage you to take that attitude with it, where you're seen as a thought partner, but you're still the expert. You're the expert, and it can help you be a better expert if you treat it like that.
Yeah, and I would add, also check the different models available in the different tools. Some of them have, it's called something different in each tool, but they'll have something like deep research or something like that. And if you turn it to the different type of underlying model, you're going to get better results back depending on what your use case is. Don't always leave it on the auto. Learn a little bit about the different types of models that are underlying the different tools and leverage the right one for the type of query that you're putting in there.
Any other questions out there? We've got just a couple of minutes left, and I know you're hungry. 5, the green sign is up.
Green.
Why don't we take it to final comments from our panelists, and then we'll have them pull over here to the left of me, and that way if you have specific questions, you can talk to them directly if you can wait for your lunch. So let's start with Roy. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I know a lot of our questions, we talked about AI, but I think one of the important things is to remember technology in general.
Yep.
And what it can do for your company, for your bottom line. I think one of the biggest impacts, yes, we have like Google Workplace, Microsoft Teams, things like that that help us collaboratively. Yes, we have AI that helps us. I love the thought partner term. But I think one of the biggest things for you as a business owner is social media marketing and understanding that that allows you from wherever you are, Bastrop County, Caldwell County, wherever you are, to compete and find markets that you would not have been able to compete in 50 years ago. You're able to target your demographic. You might want to advertise on social media next to a podcast because you know the people that listen to that podcast buy your product or want to buy your service. And that, I think, is one of the biggest developments that is exciting for small business owners, because you may be a small company that builds equipment in Texas, but you're able to compete with a Caterpillar now for market share. And well, we'll talk about scaling and all of those sort of things, but you're able to reach a much broader market and to target it, and it's so much more efficient than a billboard. My apologies to anybody who works in the billboard industry here.
All right, I'll go with be curious. We're in a world where if the thing that is going to take your business and ramp it up a notch, curiosity. Go out there, learn the new tools. Don't be afraid of them. Experiment, but be eager to learn and encourage the people that work with you and for you to be eager to learn as well. A lot of people, like I live with a household of people, including my children, and this is partially my fault for making them watch sci-fi, but they're like, Mom, it's hell. Or I get, oh, Mom, it's Skynet. Or pick your movie reference that had AI gone wrong. And that's what I hear. And they're like, don't turn it on in the house. And I'm like, oh my gosh. All right. Yes, I live with a bunch of tech phobes. It's really bizarre. And I caused it. It's crazy. But what I will tell you is be curious. Learn about it. Fear is your enemy. And it's the thing that's going to keep you from progressing in your life, in your business, anything. If you're curious, if you're eager to learn, if you're willing to go out, learn new skill sets, that's what's going to set you apart from your competitors. That eagerness to learn, that curiosity, and that's particularly true as we're shortening the cycles between the emergence of new technologies. You got to stay on top of that. You got to be willing to learn, and that's what's going to set you apart from your competitors.
Yeah, and I was going to say something very, very similar to that is I would just challenge you to be a lifelong learner. And because that's going to keep you young at heart, it's going to help you keep your edge. You don't want to ever be irrelevant. We had a dear friend back in the day, back in Dallas, that had a TV repair shop, and like by 1995, it was irrelevant because you didn't need them anymore, but she hadn't really changed with the times. I don't want to ever be like that. And so you want to always be a lifelong learner. Don't let the fear hold you back. Get out there and start playing around with it. And, maybe take some of the things you never thought about today. Like even what you said at the beginning, Roy, about social media and being out there on social media. Like literally you can ask AI to help you with that. And it can come up to ask it to write a 30-day campaign to do this or that. Maybe that's too much. Ask it to write a 1 or 2 day campaign. And if you're a social media manager out there, that's not anything to be afraid of. That's just going to help you do more. It's going to help you scale more. We also had a card on the table from tekRESCUE where we have an AI toolkit, which basically 2 things on there. One is a policy that you could use at your business to help differentiate between the free and the paid, and how do you keep your data secure. And then the other one is an organizational friction finder. And if you have a ChatGPT account, you can log into that, and it will literally help you find places in your business where AI maybe could help. It's not going to solve all your problems, but it will get you thinking and moving down the road.
All right, fantastic. Well, I have really enjoyed being part of this conversation. I definitely want to thank our panelists, Meg, Randy, and Roy. Let's give them a round of applause. I also want to thank the governor's office for having us up here, as well as the city of Bastrop and the chamber. I've been with Community Impact 19 years, 2.5 million mailboxes. I have launched a lot of publications in communities across the state. And Bastrop, don't tell the others, is my favorite. I love it here. Y'all are all wonderful, welcoming people, so thank you.